The cameras flashed, the crowd froze, and just like that, Hollywood had a brand new obsession.
Right, but this time it wasn't about a scandalous breakup or, a red carpet disaster. It was actually about a pale pink lace dress and a two-tiered cake.
Welcome to Starscope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
I am your host, Jordan.
And I am Jamie.
Today, we are taking a deep dive into a headline that, honestly, completely stopped my social media feed. The title of today's deep dive is Beanie Feldstein is Pregnant, and her comeback story is better than any script.
It really is. Usually when we talk about a massive Hollywood comeback, there's a very specific, almost tired script we expected to follow.
Oh, totally. You picture the triumphant red carpet return or, the gritty prestige drama that wins all the awards.
Exactly. The glossy magazine cover declaring to the world that they are officially back on top.
Yeah.
It's always an external professional victory.
Yeah. Right. It's all about reclaiming industry territory. It's about proving your worth to the very critics who, frankly, tore you down in the first place.
But we are looking at a totally different picture today. Forget the flashbulbs and the podiums.
Yeah, let me paint the scene for you, the listener, because it's so vivid. Picture a stunning, pale pink, puff-sleeved lace dress.
Mm-hmm.
Standing right next to it is a perfectly tailored, sharp coral suit with this incredible ascot meets bow tie situation.
Which is such a strong look, by the way.
Oh, it's amazing. And sitting right between them is a cake decorated with pink bows that reads simply, D+B are having a baby.
It is a completely different kind of premiere. And when you understand the context behind it, it's a much more powerful one.
It's the ultimate plot twist. And that is exactly our mission for this deep dive. We are pulling from a massive stack of sources today: entertainment news articles, biographical wikis, theater reviews, and deep dive wedding features.
We really had to pull from everywhere to get the full picture.
We did. Okay, let's unpack this. Because if you just glance at the headlines, you might think we're just dissecting a standard celebrity baby bump reveal. But we aren't.
No, not at all.
What we are really exploring is a modern Hollywood love story and a profound, messy narrative of personal and professional resilience. It's about finding your happy place in an industry that is essentially designed to tear you down.
And to really grasp why this moment feels so heavy, we have to look at the sheer scale of the reaction it triggered online.
Right.
Because when this announcement dropped, the response wasn't just polite PR-managed Hollywood applause. It was a roar. It felt deeply personal to a lot of people.
Let's set the scene properly for you. It's May 2026. Beanie drops this collaborative Instagram post with her wife, Bonnie Chance Roberts.
Yeah, and we've got the pink dress, the coral pants, Beanie cradling the baby bump with this massive radiant smile.
And the caption reads, "And I love this limited edition Scouse Beanie Baby coming soon, complete with a little pink bow and a baby bottle emoji."
Which is such a brilliant layered caption. I mean, Scouts is a very specific, affectionate slang term for someone or something from Liverpool, England.
Oh, right, which is where Bonnie is originally from.
Exactly. So right out of the gate,
Yeah.
It's this perfect, cheeky blending of their two worlds.
It's so clever, but what actually stopped me in my tracks was the comment section. It was an absolute flood.
It really was.
And it wasn't just standard heart emojis, it was highly emotional. Like Olivia Wilde, who directed Beanie and Booksmart, wrote, "Luckiest baby, and I'm finally a grandma."
Oh, that's sweet.
And Ben Platt, who has been Beanie's best friend since high school, declared, "The universe is healing."
That's the one that really gets you.
Yeah, you had Caitlin Dever cheering, Joey King, Ariana Grande. I mean, my first thought was, I know she's well-liked, but this feels heavier than just being popular. It felt like a collective exhale.
Yeah, a real release of tension.
Exactly. So I have to ask, why does this particular announcement feel so universally celebrated and emotionally heavy compared to your standard PR baby reveal?
Well, it's because the backdrop of this joy isn't just a standard Hollywood career. It's a story about profound life-altering grief.
Right.
This isn't just about new life entering the world. It's about a family surviving an unimaginable loss. Because back in 2017, Beanie's oldest brother, the music manager Jordan Feldstein, died incredibly suddenly.
Oh, wow.
He had a blood clot, and he was only 40 years old.
That is just incomprehensible. To lose a sibling that suddenly, that rewires a family completely.
It's a foundational shock. It's
True.
the kind of trauma that splits your entire life into before and an after.
Mm-hmm.
And Beanie has actually never shied away from discussing the reality of that grief.
Yeah, according to some of the biographical features we read, she channeled a lot of that experience into her work with experience camps.
Right, which are specialized camps for grieving children, specifically those dealing with the loss of a parent or sibling.
She's written very candidly about how doing that work changed her soul.
So when you look at Ben Platt commenting, "The universe is healing," you aren't just reading a cute, trendy internet phrase.
No, not at all.
You have to view it through the lens of a family that was completely shattered. For Beanie, for her brother Jonah Hill, for their mother Sharon. This new baby represents a tangible, undeniable continuation of love after an incredibly dark chapter.
Wow. That completely recontextualizes the sheer radiance you see in those Instagram photos. It's defiant, hard-won happiness.
Absolutely. It's a choice to be joyful.
And honestly, that emotional weight makes total sense once we trace the roots of how Beanie and Bonnie actually got together, because this relationship is defined by intense loyalty and by literally overcoming oceans of distance.
Geography played a massive role in their dynamic from the very beginning.
It really did. But wait till you hear how they actually met, because that is a movie in itself. We're going to get into that right now. And hey, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead in this deep dive.
You definitely don't want to miss what's coming.
So let's look at the timeline. We start in July 2018 in the UK. They are on the set of the movie How to Build a Girl. Beanie is the star, and Bonnie is a producer on the film.
Right, so it sounds like your classic on-set meet cute.
It does. By September of that year, Beanie is posting on Instagram about being in Brighton with this girl and describing the experience as magic.
But the internal shift for Beanie was much more complex than just a standard Hollywood romance.
Which brings me to this incredible quote from a 2019 Teen Vogue interview. Up until meeting Bonnie, Beanie had exclusively dated men. In fact, her brother Jonah used to call her the Dexter of relationships.
That is such a funny, specific description.
Right, because apparently she was so warm and loving in every other area of her life, but just completely icy and detached when it came to boyfriends. It just didn't click.
Until she meets Bonnie.
Yes. She told Teen Vogue, "I get why people write songs. I was in love with her and all of her, and she's a woman. That's not scaring me or deterring me." And it wasn't just women in general, it was her specifically.
What's really striking about that articulation is how it bypasses the traditional agonizing coming out narrative we see so often in media. She discovered her identity through a hyper-specific, undeniable connection with one person.
Yeah, she just fell in love with a person. But of course, a profound connection doesn't neutralize real-world logistics.
Oh, no, it doesn't. You have the UK-US divide right from the start. And then the pandemic hits.
Oh, man. The timing.
They were forced to spend 13 consecutive months apart during the COVID lockdowns because of international border closures.
I cannot even fathom that. 13 months. Long distance is brutal on a good day, but during a terrifying global health crisis where you literally don't know when you will legally be allowed to see your partner again, that is a pressure cooker.
It is. It's the kind of crucible that either fractures a relationship entirely or forges it into steel. And clearly for them, it was the latter.
All of that pent-up tension ultimately culminated in June 2022 when Bonnie orchestrated this incredibly intricate, romantic backyard proposal.
Oh, it was gorgeous. Surrounded by flowers, mementos, their tightest circle of friends.
Which naturally leads us to the wedding in May 2023 at Cedar Lakes Estate in the Hudson Valley of New York.
Now, initially, this sounds like a familiar celebrity trend, right? The rustic upstate New York getaway.
Totally.
Beanie describes summer camp as her happy place. She went for 10 years. But it's actually a deep family tradition. Her parents met at summer camp. Both sets of her grandparents met at summer camp.
That's wild. 3 generations.
Yeah. So getting married at a camp was, in her words, continuing a lineage of love. It's a deeply grounding choice to keep the Hollywood machine out of your personal life.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. I want to push back on the idea that this was just a simple mud-on-your-boots rustic camp wedding.
Oh, it definitely wasn't.
According to Vogue's feature on the event, this was a highly curated, aggressively high-fashion affair. Beanie was working on a campaign for Gucci, and Gucci actually approached her to design her wedding dress.
That is a fascinating pivot. The aesthetic of summer camp, but executed with European haute couture.
Exactly. And Bonnie specifically worked with Gucci tailors because she wanted to wear a suit, but she was adamant that she wanted to look like a bride instead of a groom.
Which is where that incredible pink bridal suit came from.
Yes, and beyond the fashion, they utilized an entirely female team of vendors, the wedding planner, the estate owner, the photographers.
It was a completely controlled environment.
Mm.
And that control is the crucial detail here. When you live a highly scrutinized public life, your private milestones become a physical manifestation of your values.
Absolutely. The details were so specific.
The reception tablecloths were custom embroidered with lyrics from the Beatles, Joni Mitchell, and James Taylor. They blended American and British traditions in their vows, and then Ben Platt sang their first dance song.
They actively constructed a world that looked exactly the way they wanted it to. It was a masterclass in making a highly public event feel fiercely authentic and impenetrable.
And understanding that level of control is vital. Because to truly appreciate the joy of this wedding and the baby announcement, we have to talk about the absolute loss of control Beanie experienced right before this.
Oh, yeah, and that is not even the wildest part. Later in the episode, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming, a professional disaster that played out on one of the world's biggest stages. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next.
Because her current era of bliss isn't just a happy continuation of a successful career. It is a massive comeback from a brutal, very public, professional bruising.
Let's break down the mechanics of that professional journey because early on, Beanie had this meteoric, almost flawless rise in Hollywood.
She really did. She could do no wrong.
She gets universal acclaim in Lady Bird, a Golden Globe nomination for carrying Booksmart. She stars as Monica Lewinsky in Impeachment, American Crime Story, which was heavy prestige television.
She was the golden girl.
And then she takes the role of Fanny Bryce in the 2022 Broadway revival of Funny Girl.
Which, for a theater kid, is the ultimate mountaintop. But it is also a notorious trap.
Wait, why is it a trap? I mean, isn't it just a classic, beloved musical?
It is, but the mechanics of the role are uniquely punishing. The ghost of Barbra Streisand looms over Funny Girl in a way that is almost unmatched in musical theater.
Oh, right, because she originated the role in the 60s.
Exactly. And Streisand didn't just play the role. She defined it with a very specific, once-in-a-generation, vocal belting capacity.
Right.
Beanie, historically, is a brilliant comedic character actor. She is charming, empathetic, and hilarious. But Fanny Bryce demands vocal acrobatics.
Yeah.
If you don't hit the notes exactly the way the audience remembers Streisand hitting them, the theater community turns on you very quickly.
And turn they did. The reviews from major outlets like the New York Times and The Guardian were harsh. They explicitly stated she wasn't a power singer and wasn't giving a Broadway-caliber performance.
And we have to explain how Broadway criticism works today. It's not just one bad review in the morning paper that you can ignore.
No, it's everywhere.
It's an ecosystem. Theater message boards, TikTok reviews, nightly gossip. It snowballs into a viral narrative.
It's relentless.
It ultimately led to Beanie's highly publicized early departure from the show and the incredibly dramatic casting of Lea Michele to replace her.
Initially I was thinking about this like a star athlete having a terrible game on national television, but that's totally wrong. It's actually more like psychological warfare.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Imagine waking up, reading in the New York Times that you are inadequate, seeing thousands of people agree with it on Twitter, and then having to walk into a theater, put your makeup on, and perform that exact same show for 3 hours that night.
Knowing the audience just read the same review.
Exactly, and you have to do that 8 times a week. How does someone whose entire identity is tied to theater not just completely shatter under that pressure? Why didn't she just immediately sign on for some easy Netflix rom-com to change the subject?
What's fascinating here is how she responded. She fundamentally changed her relationship with external validation. She didn't retreat, but she didn't grasp at a quick PR fix either.
Right.
First, she anchored herself entirely in her personal life. On her final day in Funny Girl, Bonnie didn't let her hide. Bonnie posted publicly that it was the greatest honor to watch her perform every day.
She surrounded Beanie with unconditional support that had nothing to do with her vocal range. And by the way, that was right around the time they got engaged. They literally answered a professional disaster with a personal, lifelong commitment.
Exactly. And then, professionally, she made a fascinating pivot. She completely rejected the instant gratification, overnight review culture of Broadway.
Yeah, she went in a totally different direction.
She was cast in Ethan Cohen's film Drive Away Dolls, And, more importantly, she joined the cast of Richard Linklater's upcoming adaptation of Merrily We Roll Along.
Okay, we have to explain the logistics of Merrily We Roll Along because it is insane. Richard Linklater is shooting this movie over the course of 20 years.
20 years.
The actors literally film a segment, age in real life, and come back years later to film the next part.
Which is the brilliant part. Think about the psychology of that choice. After being subjected to a daily, punishing cycle of immediate public feedback, she deliberately chose a project with the final result won't be seen, judged, or reviewed for 2 decades.
That is incredible.
It is the ultimate commitment to the process of making art, rather than the outcome or the applause. It is a structural rebellion against the idea that you are only as good as your last review.
I love that so much. She basically opted out of the game entirely.
Completely.
So what does this all mean for you listening to this deep dive? When we connect these dots, the sudden tragic loss of a brother, the brutal public humiliation of a Broadway flop, the fiercely controlled magic of a custom Gucci camp wedding.
Yeah, and the quiet pivot to 20-year film projects.
Right. And finally, this joyous pregnancy announcement. It tells me that Beanie's true comeback has almost nothing to do with Hollywood.
No, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's not about reclaiming industry status at all. It's about recognizing that the stage, the red carpet, the glowing reviews, they were all temporary, and they're inherently fickle.
They really are. They can be taken away in an instant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the family you intentionally build, a partner who champions you when you fail,
Yeah.
the specific aesthetic and joy you curate in your own home that is permanent.
They built a fortress. Beanie and Bonnie constructed a world that the critics simply cannot touch. And the fact that they are now bringing a child into that fortress feels like the ultimate victory lap.
It really is.
We started this deep dive looking at a celebrity Instagram post about a baby, but what we really unpacked was a masterclass in how to survive the highest highs and the lowest lows of a highly scrutinized life.
It's a remarkable trajectory. It requires immense strength to endure profound family grief, navigate a bruising public failure, and come out the other side standing in the sunshine of a summer camp, celebrating a love that survived a global lockdown. They proved that true success in the public eye often requires anchoring yourself in private, authentic love, rather than the fickle opinions of critics.
It really does. And it leaves you with a pretty powerful question to mull over. We live in a culture that is absolutely obsessed with professional optimization.
Oh, completely obsessed.
We're constantly told to climb the ladder, to seek the accolades, to fear the public stumble, and to brand our successes. But Beanie's story completely upends that script.
It asks us to rethink everything.
It asks us, what if the most important comeback you can ever make has absolutely nothing to do with your career? What if the greatest success is simply having the courage to stubbornly, joyfully prioritize your own personal happy place, regardless of what the audience thinks?
That's a profound thought.
Just picture that pale pink dress and that coral suit and ask yourself, what does your ultimate plot twist look like? You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.